You've heard it before and you'll hear it again, and we'll probably hear it forever. We are all one conversation away from a huge breakthrough. And it's all about learning to have those $100,000, $200,000, $1 million conversations. And that all begins with getting yourself in front of the right people and in the right rooms and just pulling up that seat in the right table where you know that making that connection and starting that conversation is going to bring a breakthrough. So, welcome to our latest edition of Agents in the Trenches, the real raw realities of people that are in the real estate industry, not just real estate agents, team leaders, and brokers, but everyone that is in the real estate industry. And of course, I want to introduce, as always, my co host and friend now, John Collins. How are you, John? Welcome.
I am wonderful. Thank you very much, Lucy. And what you said is absolutely true. If you think about any relationship that you have in your life, it all starts with a conversation. And so, yep. So it's an important part of business too. Conversations, going out there, meeting new people, learning about new people, learning what their needs are and how you can fulfill those needs for them.
There's something about making human connections. I remember one of my coaches would always say we are in the human connection business, whether we are selling homes, selling titles, selling mortgages, selling anything, we are in the humans connection business. And today we're going to have an amazing conversation with a dear friend that, I met exactly that way. I met at an event, having a conversation, then going a little bit deeper. I remember her visiting me at the academy when I was just in the middle of figuring things out and how am I going to do this? I've never done this before. We went out to lunch, we met each other. And so she is a woman that is a trailblazer. She is a game changer. She's done so many different things. I love watching people that just take the bull by the horns and say, this is what I'm going to do. They set out to
Yep.
do it. They may not have it all figured out. That's probably, most super achievers don't have it all figured out. Right, John?
But they take action. And
There you
and
go.
you know, we were talking a few minutes backstage before we came on live, and it's obvious she had a goal, she wanted to do something, and she took action. She didn't hesitate, she didn't overplan, she didn't overanalyze, she just did it. And so I'm excited to talk to her. I think it's going to be a great conversation.
And that's what I love about her and people like her. They're not afraid to fail forward, fall on their face, get back up. So let me introduce my dear friend, Vanessa Lott. Welcome, welcome
Yay!
to Vanessa. How are you?
Hello, Lucy. Hello, John. I am so excited. This is actually my first time getting interviewed. So it's exciting to be on this side. I used to host a podcast myself, and I was the one asking the questions. So I'm glad to be on this
We
side.
turned the tables on you, haven't we?
That's it. That's
Okay.
it.
Well,
Vanessa, I
as you know,
always
Vanessa, just relax, because as you know, a podcast is nothing. A good podcast is nothing more than a conversation,
That's it.
and that's what we want today. So relax. We'll make it easy on you. Go ahead, Lucy. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
and Vanessa's a pro at it because if you go back and look in her YouTube history, right, she would invite a lot of, you know, game changers and move makers. But Vanessa, I always like to open up with allowing yourself. I always say you know Vanessa a lot better than anyone. Tell us, who is Vanessa Lott? Give us the real raw realities. Give us a little story about yourself, and let's introduce you to our audience, which is an audience that's just not local, it's national, it's international. And we always end up with a lot more viewers on the replay than even on the live. So,
Yeah.
who's Vanessa Lott?
I am an Ecuadorian born New Yorker raised that wasn't afraid to move around and explore. So I've lived in different states, who has two beautiful daughters who are now young ladies in their 20s and early 30s. And now I am a full title agency owner, and a partner with my daughter in real estate. That is my story. That is my story, and I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to start talking about who I am, Lucy. So I appreciate that. To be on this side and actually start talking about your accomplishments, because I think one should talk about them.
So let's go a little bit deeper with that. How does it feel to be leading your own daughter in a trajectory where, I'm sure you had great mentors and leaders that led you, but this is your legacy now. I mean, now you are into legacy building. And I love that because it's the reason I made it in real estate. I said, I am going to make it some way, somehow, because I want a better future for my children. And tell us how that feels for you now.
Well, I mean, it's amazing, and I am lucky that I was in the industry. So to lead her is amazing, because I know it's not always easy, right? It's your daughter at the end of the day. So, there's still, back and forth that happens. We have a mother-daughter relationship, right?
Uh-huh.
So we always say we should be on a reality show because of all the things that happen on the back end of things. But in the end, I'm setting her up for success, truly. I'm almost considering myself the Kris Jenner of real estate here, where I'm going to set her up with success, point her in the right direction. She's only 19. She's already cold calling. She actually got her first listing through a cold call. So, and I'm also learning to back up. I was a stage mom with her. She was always in dancing, modeling, and things like that. So I've always had that personality with her, but I've learned to also sit back and let her get into the groove of things. I think real estate is something that as you learn it on your own and experience these successes, it's when it gets really exciting. And of course, you don't make winners. They're born. They either are or they aren't. My daughter's a winner. My realtors are winners, but Mia, who's dabbling, who's in real estate, she's definitely, she understands it. She gets it.
Does she bring all of her business to you?
They're a mother-daughter duo. So how we set it up is that we set up as a mother-daughter duo. Truly, John, Lucy, I knew going into this that because of her age, that she was going to need backup. Meaning that when we were going to go to appointments, she was going to need someone where clients, customers, were going to feel comfortable that there was someone behind this young lady with their biggest purchase or biggest sell of their home. So of course I can talk. I've been in the business, whether it be title or anything. I can talk. I am very versed in the real estate world, and so it's worked out well. She does well sometimes. I know when to be quiet. So we work as a mother-daughter duo here on the real estate side of things.
It's got to give her a lot of confidence to have you there, to know that, to relieve that pressure on her, that if something comes up that she's not familiar with, that you're there to kind of fill in the gaps. And
what I appreciate that. But let me tell you, I don't know it all. The real estate side of it is new to me, but I know to have aligned myself with the right people, that if I don't have the answer, I know I can go get it. And I wanted to, because I am on the title side. Obviously, I own a title agency that services New York, New Jersey, and Florida soon. I didn't want to align myself so much with the people in Jersey, and I figured so I tried a few different routes. I joined a team before she even got licensed to see what that was like, because I'm in Georgia. I didn't like it. I knew where I wanted to go. I knew what I wanted to do. So I went and I chose the people to align myself that I knew would be helpful in not only my coaching, but her coaching.
I love it. So we're talking about, that one conversation that can bring a breakthrough. We're talking about, that one connection that, we can always look back and say that was a defining moment. So I want to ask you a question. Give us one of those moments where you decided, right? Because it takes intention and you have to premeditatedly say, I am going to reach out to someone, or I'm going to connect with someone, or I'm going to call this person, even if I'm scared out of my boots. Could you recall for all the people that are watching? Because there's a lot of people in the real estate industry. We're obviously living in uncertain times, especially those people that were used to the easy real
Yeah.
estate seasons that we've been having for many, many years. But tell us about one of those times where you connected with someone that just skyrocketed your business, and you can look back and dissect for us how you did it and what happened.
Well, if you don't mind, I'll mention two, and it has been in the past 3 years. My first one is my current title business partner. Okay, I was going through a change in regards to where I was going to put my hat next. I knew I needed to make a change. Things weren't working out, and I had heard about this uh, title company, and and all the things they were doing, and to be honest, they were doing something that I had never heard of. I had always been told that it was something that you couldn't do, and I looked them up, and I went online, and I did some research, and I said, I'm going to call them and see if I can get a meeting. I didn't know this person, they didn't know me, and I went and I pitched myself to them, well, and what I wanted. um, and sure enough, 3 years later, we're still business partners. Ultimately, where I developed the Lott Title Agency, I knew, because I lived in a different state, that I couldn't have and run a title company on my own, nor did I want to reinvent the wheel. I like to work smarter and not harder. And so I did that. I literally went, I reached out to him. I went on his calendar, and I went and made my appointment, and we talked it out. And I've been with several title companies. Okay. So I know how everybody works, at least in my region. And probably, I want to say, the best business partner. We probably talk twice a month, but that means that things are running so well because there's not much to talk. He lets me do what I need to do, and he runs the back ship well. But he changed my business by not only teaching me how to do it better, but learning systems that I would have never learned, like doing joint ventures, learning how to do operating agreements, things on the executive, like more on the business side of title that I didn't even know. And just being compliant, doing it the right way. And he runs an amazing ship. And we, through him and his knowledge and my partnership with him, I have two amazing joint ventures with high producing a brokerage and a high producing team. And I can expand those as I wish, as long as they make sense. So that was definitely one. And the other one was reaching out. I've always said I know a lot of people in the industry, but me, I've had some relationships that I've had to cut off in the business, and then I've had some relationships that have always been there. Lucy being one. I'm sure we can not talk for a year, and I'm sure I could pick up the phone and call Lucy, and it would be like no big deal. So I kept relationships like that. And same thing when I was looking into getting in the industry, making the change, getting out of the team that I thought would have been the right thing to do. I reached out to them, and here we are. We are now growing our real estate team with my daughter. Again, Lucy has always mentioned this coaching with the right leadership, right connections. It's changed our business. We're so new in the, with my daughter being so young and new in the business, me being new in real estate, we connected with the right people. We have 3 listings already, closed the deal already, and it's only 2025, and we look to do a lot more.
That's
I
great.
love it.
That's it. It's just, don't be afraid to pick up the phone. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone and reach out. I always say, reach out to your resources.
Absolutely. So let me ask you the flip side. In all the years that you've been doing what you do, and I'm sure just as you had those 2 high-level conversations, right, that you were intentionally setting out to do, can you also share with us when you've stayed in a position with low level players or with people that surround you that are not as, you know, aligned with you, for lack of a better term, right? Share with us how you have realized that that has held you back or held you stuck.
Absolutely. I live by now, change your circle, change your life, right? Because there was a time I pretty much surrounded myself with the low levels. It was like, give me, give me, give me. What do you do for me? Where truly in business, great business partners is what can we do for each other? And that is something I live by now. I will not do business. I do not surround myself with takers. I only surround myself. Either we're going to level each other up, take each other to the next level. Let's conduce. Can we have business conversations? Can we make changes? Can we pivot when we have to? Those are the ones that I want to stick with. And so staying with the low level players will not allow you to do that. They don't have the mindset for it.
So true. So true.
It's so much fun. This is business conversations that are just so important. Just as much as being friendly, there has to be a time where you can say, okay, let's talk business. These are the numbers. This is what makes sense. This is what doesn't make sense. And if those conversations can't be had, then we're not really truly business partners.
So let's talk a little bit about the art of providing value to high level people. How do you go about that?
Well, because I wear two hats, I feel that I am the most valuable titled professional ever, because I am wearing the hat of a realtor. When I say something, when I say something like I can help you grow your business, I mean that truly, because I'm in the same position. What I'm doing to grow my business, I'll share with you. And that's what I feel high level people look for, is how can you help me? I can teach you, I can give you money, or I can give you, teach you, but if I teach you how to fish, or I teach you how to truly grow your business, right? If I teach you how to truly grow your business, and now you're closing 4 more deals, 5 more deals, or whatever, now I'm more valuable.
So let me ask you something.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Jen. Because I'm listening to you, and I am putting myself in the shoes of our audience, right? So our audience is everyone in the industry of real estate. So mortgage, title, insurance, home inspector, surveyor, appraiser, builders, everybody that makes a deal come together directly or indirectly, and obviously agents, team leaders, and brokers. So I'm thinking, okay, what if everybody did what you just told us you did, right? Having those 2 conversations that you went and you literally went out and found a way to have that conversation. What if everybody did that? Imagine where everyone's life could be, and maybe it should be. But then I also want to put myself and have empathy and put myself in their shoes and say, how do I know I'm having the right conversation with the wrong people?
Wow, that's a great question, Lucy. You kind of caught me off guard on that one. I mean, that's truly something that one has to decide when it's an internal feeling. If it doesn't feel good, to you, your soul, if it feels like you're like killing yourself or something, it's not good. And that's what you should really focus on as an individual, and that's personal, business, or anything. Life is so short, right? And as we get older, we all appreciate life a little bit more, but life is so short. Nothing should make you feel like you have a stomach ache, right? That's not how it should. Conversations, and I've learned, because I have elevated my business partnerships, are healthy. They're filled with growth.
I love that answer. Because I'm glad everyone sees that this is not scripted. That's why we say this is the real raw realities of, what we do and how we do it. More than bringing the flash and the glam and the glitz, I really want us to be real, because there are a lot of people that know I'm not in the right room. I'm not at the right table. I don't have the right atmosphere around me, but they're so scared. They're so scared to get out of it. It was like Tony Robbins said, when I was coaching with him in 2024, people will stay in the familiar pain versus breaking out into the unfamiliar future that's going to take them somewhere else. So what do you tell someone? How do I overcome the uncertainty, the fear? Because you will hear people say, I want to make money, I want to grow, I want to be better, I want to be this, that, and the other, but their actions are not aligned. Talk to our audience
If you
about.
are not constantly evaluating, evolving, and executing on things in your life, you're going to be stuck. Okay, that's it. That is period. I can tell you, want real and raw? My business went down the tube in 2023. I made a major change. The business was changing. I changed the way, the model. I started changing the model of the business. It wasn't fit for everyone. I lost a lot of business. And I shed a lot of tears. But what I did is I picked myself up and said, okay, what do I got to do? And again, I had aligned myself with someone that had a different idea. I think people have to understand that if you're not making a change, you're going to be stuck. That's it. Bottom line, there's no, I can't coddle anyone in any other way, right? I'm just not that, I'm not cut from that. You're going to want to make the change or you're going to be stuck. And being stuck and making the change means financial change. Maybe you're gonna be on the bottom. You're gonna be in red sometimes. My business ran not on red, but I wasn't making money for the first year. It was green, and the fact that all the bills were getting paid, but I wasn't profitable. But Lucy and John, that taught me so much, because everyone wants to be a leader, everybody wants to be an owner, but at the end of the day, those are the ones that potentially are making the least amount of money, because we're the ones handling the weight. So but it's the right person, and to be honest, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. Some people are meant to be leaders and some are not. But what I could say, if you want to change, you've got to do it. Just do it. Fear not.
It's funny because Lucy and I have a lot of conversations. In fact, I'm here in Florida visiting her right now. But the one thing that always comes up in no matter who we talk to is persistence and consistency. That you have to keep at whatever it is, you have to be committed and consistent every day and show up. And that's not for everyone. Some people like their 9 to 5, and I'm telling you, business owner never works 9 to 5.
No,
We all know that.
Not. No, yeah, absolutely not. And it's not always great days either, right? But
Yes.
I think there's this world was made. You've got leaders, you've got people. Listen, there's people that are great at what they do. I hate, I stole this word from somebody, but I hate the minutia. I'll pay anyone. I don't know how to do that. I hate the small tasks. I want to talk to people. I want to sell. Anything that has to do with paperwork, contract. Even now, Georgia contracts was very new to me. It's a new state. I've never, done real estate. It's a different animal than New Jersey, for sure. In New Jersey, we have real estate attorneys that handle everything. Here, you kind of do everything on your own. And of course, I learned how to do a contract, but I don't want to do a contract every day, right? So if I've got a deal, I just want to go give it to somebody. And so I went and I hired a TC that will, knows how to do everything. I check it over because that's what I'm great at doing, making sure that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. But, that's just what I did to make my business move forward in the real estate business. But yeah, no, I think some people are just leaders and some are not, and that's okay. You have to be good. You have to be good, and you have to love. I had an assistant who I love her to death. I love her. She's great at what she does. She doesn't necessarily love sales. She does a little bit of sales. She's amazing at what she does. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
So you talk about your network. So what I'm curious, what type of networks does Vanessa Lott travel in? How do you know, what is the outside people that you look at to go visit and spend time with, and organizations and special events? I know Lucy just got back from one yesterday, and her comment was there was so much energy in the room, and it wasn't that stand up and jump energy, it was the energy of success. So what does Vanessa Lott do to keep herself energized and be around that type of network? Where do you reach out?
Well, in regards to being charged and well, because I wear two hats, but when I'm wearing the real estate hats, we do everyday coaching on scripts and just, mentorship and things like that. So that's exciting because I get to be around a room full of high energy realtors that are go-getters and things like that. So that's amazing. So that's on that side. I also have and because I have a high network, like yesterday here in Georgia, the owner of a magazine invited us out. They were launching a magazine. They made sure. So I've always made sure to keep my really good contacts available. So we went and we networked there because sometimes you just got to step out of just being in the real estate circle, right? And in regards to title, I no longer network, and I don't want to call it, I think that would be mean if I call it a waste of time. But I don't go to the, networking events and the thing. To me, it's just, let's jump on a Zoom. I've used Zoom more than anything as of late. And I'll only go into business with business conversations. I have systems that I can look at people and see their numbers and, really have quality conversations. So I don't network as much. I used to network all the time. I used to network so much when I still lived in New Jersey. I was traveling to other states because I didn't want to just know people in New Jersey. And 10 years later, it's, look, I'm getting interviewed by Lucy and you, John. But I pick and choose where I want to be, but I definitely don't do a lot of networking within the real estate world like I used to.
Well, we all overuse that network.
Yes, I think
there's networks that can waste your time, and we all know what they are. but there's networks of high producers that we can go to, like Lucy does. Lucy, I think she travels every week to go meet some other high energy people, but it energizes her.
She's definitely surrounded by I know some of her people. You guys are definitely surrounded. For me right now, like I redid the Tony Robbins UPW online. I did it in person, and I did that. I actually want to take my daughter, I think it's life changing, to the one in person that they're doing in California. So that would be my third UPW.
Wow.
I am growing more internally than I am networking, and I think that's helping me grow my business.
So I think that, like John was saying, traditionally speaking, networking has been, you go out and you have drinks and you pass out business cards and you spend 2 hours and you don't even do anything with the business cards. You don't even know who you met. I think the idea is more of collaborative circles, being in the right rooms, having those right conversations like we're talking about today. Like, okay, how can I have, or who can I have $100,000 conversation with that's going to get me to the next level? So I want you to tell us a story of, or something that you can remember where you literally could identify the preparation behind you having that, and we call it $100,000 conversation, or that conversation that took you to that next level. How did you prepare for it? Because I think a lot of people stay stuck in the preparation. Because here's what we know. We all know what we're supposed to do. We all know when we're supposed to do it. but that doesn't necessarily mean we do it, right? So can you dissect for us, how do you get yourself, whether it's mentally, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, how do you get yourself to do the things you know you must do, the conversations you know you must have, when you know you must have them, even though you don't feel like having them?
I'll say this: know your value. When you know your value, you know how to have the conversations. Because I no longer am selling myself when I talk to talk to people. The conversation is either collaboration, growth, or so it's a different conversation when you. And because I have the experience and I know that it's that first time that you're going to be able to truly have the best conversation where you're saying, this is my worth, this is what I bring to the table, this is what I do, this is what I plan on doing. And so the conversation is definitely different when you come at it from a different angle. When the angle is, this is my worth, it's a different conversation. And I think that's what holds people back.
I want the audience to remember that. Know your value. That is so important. Know your value.
So then I would ask, again, putting myself in the position of our audience, right? Because at the end of the day, we're here to deliver value to our audience, right? So we don't know who's going to watch this at 2 a.m. They can't sleep. You know, they are in that moment of, oh my God, what do I do? How do you figure out your value? Because there's so many people that get into real estate. And I don't care if you're doing mortgages, because there's, you look for mortgage people, they're a dime a dozen. You look for realtors, they're like a dime for 2 dozen. You look for everybody in the real estate industry. There's so many other people doing the same. But how? How do I figure out my value?
We're all Tony Robbins lovers here, right? This is what I'm going to say, Lucy. So when Tony Robbins, because he's asked this question many times, all right, sell me this pen, right? Or what do you do? It's another thing. What do you do for a living? I think that's the other question. That's where I wanted to go. What do you do for a living? Most people that are in the real estate business will say, I'm a realtor. I sell houses.
I sell houses.
What? Yeah. Right. What do you do? When people ask me, whether it be title or as the plan I had as a realtor, I'm a problem solver. I am a problem solver, and in any way possible. So if we're doing title together, I may not be doing the day-to-day things, but if a problem arises, I'm going to figure it out for you. You may not like the news, but I'm going to figure it out. When it comes to being on the real estate side of things, I'm going to problem solve. I'm going to find this home for you. We're cold callers. So we're going to find off markets for you. I'm going to collaborate. If it's about selling your home, I'm going to work really hard. If we've got to go in there, we've got to stage it, and we've got to do this and we've got to do that. So I think it's finding what it is that you are. Write it down. Truly write it down. I'm lucky enough at this point that I know my value. I know what I do, right? Lucy said one time I was a connector, and I am. But more importantly, I'm a problem solver, and that's the way I see myself. So I'm a connector and a problem solver. Being a problem solver, I think is
what
better.
Lucy's always telling the staff. Don't bring me problems, bring me solutions.
And how wonderful it is to be that, right? How valuable it is to be a problem solver. It really makes you stand out from the rest, because there's always a problem.
So I want everyone to know, when I decided to go national with Agents in the Trenches, right? Because I don't know, we don't know what we don't know. We don't see our blind spots. We set out, especially me, I'm a visionary. I'm someone that just, envisions, how can I serve people and how can I help people grow, regardless of what they're doing. I don't care if they're selling lollipops, shoes, houses, condos, title, mortgage, insurance. I don't care what you sell. I know I can help you grow because the principles are universal. So at this stage in my life, I'm like, okay, how can I help people grow beyond their level? How can I help them go higher, right? How can I serve them? And then in serving them, we succeed together. So I'm saying that to say this. I remember when I used to think, well, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that, because we're always thinking we need to know everything, right? And then have you found yourself in a place or a space where you're like, who can help me do this? Who is that person that does know how to get from where I'm at to where I want to go, that can help me get there? Have you found yourself there? And what have you done with that connection of conversation?
Well, I mean, like I mentioned, on the real estate side of things, I just found the person that I thought would fit best for what we were or what I wanted to do, but not only for myself but for my daughter. When you were talking about bringing my daughter into real estate, I'm thinking long term for her. So I'm like, what can I do for her that's going to help her in this business long term, not short term, not I'm just going to sell a house, but how are you a valuable realtor? I wanted her to be a
Mhm.
standout valuable realtor that is going to be and think differently, you know. And for I think on both sides, and on the title side, it's hard. It's a really competitive world. So unfortunately, it's hard to collaborate on the title side. I have found a handful of people. There's not many people that share, though. It's an unfortunate thing on the
Yeah.
title side. I think it's based on fear and competition. And listen, I've been there. I've also grown, right? I've been there. I was
Yeah.
extremely competitive, and if I saw another title person in the room, it was, I'm no longer that person. And thank God. I mean, I've grown. I've damaged some relationships. Some were worth damaging, and I've grown from that, though. But I think that, so first of all, social media is enormous. Google it. Hashtag. Who do you want to
Mhm.
be like? It's
Mhm.
there. Literally
Right.
there. If you just look for it, Google it, whatever it is that you're trying to do and be like, find yourself someone that's doing it. But social media, literally, you just hashtag, find someone that you like and that is doing it better than you, and collaborate with them. People do actually like to share if you come at them the right way.
Yeah.
They do. They want to help. People do want to help. I do really think that people want to help others grow. It's what we're supposed to do. I think we're supposed to help others.
It's really our
Mhm.
innate ability, being part of a community, collaboration, co-creation, co-elevation, you know, loving and being loved. It's really our innate ability. I mean, it's in our DNA. We just get programmed to be egotistical, self-centered, and selfish, right? Because people around
Yep.
us program us to do that, and then fear kicks in. And so you're saying, why do people not want to share? I think it's ego. We all go through that stage in life where we work so hard to get it, we're afraid to lose it, and we think that if we share it, we're losing it. And so, like you said, it's good that we all outgrow ourselves, and now we realize, well, the more I give, the more I get, and the more I get, the more I give.
Mhm.
And I watch you, you watch me on social media, but it was because I had the intention of reconnecting and getting to know you in this new season of life, that I said, hey, I want you to come to Agents in the Trenches and tell us about you. So, in the minutes that we have left, because obviously I want to honor your time and respect your time, like Tony Robbins says, our time is life. We don't get it back. What would you want everyone to know about you now and where you're going?
Know about me now. To be honest, I think, and I've talked this with my daughter. A lot of people think that I am unfriendly, because I was a very competitive person. Now the Vanessa of today is very collaborative. I'm looking to help people grow, not only on the title side, but also on the real estate side of things. I think collaboration, knowledge, value. is something that I want to be a part of. It makes me happy in this world. I'd rather smile than be angry in life. And so if you're looking, for a new partner or have any questions in regards to title or partnerships with title, I'd love to talk to you. Even if it works out or it doesn't work out, it'll be fine. We're still friends. And the same thing applies to real estate. If you want to know what we're doing, or maybe I can connect you with someone, because I do. I know a lot of people in different states, and I've been very blessed to have some great relationships like yours, Lucy. So I am in a collaborative season in my life, and I'm so happy to be here.
I love it. And yes, I want to expand to Georgia. Yes, I do. I want to expand everything that I do to Georgia, from the academy to, my real estate organization, to everything that I do. Why
Absolutely.
not?
That's
Why
it. One
not?
hand washes the other in the end. And what I've learned is a little piece of the pie is better than no pie at all.
That's right.
Exactly. I tell my agents, a little bit of something is better than a lot of nothing.
That's it.
So,
Zero equals zero at the end of the day. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, this has been great, and thank you. I mean, you are allowing me to put myself out there, and I think it's important for people to truly know where you are and who you are. So I thank you for having me today and allowing me to talk. And I hope that we help somebody in either pushing them to move forward or challenging them to pick up the phone and make that phone call. Know your worth. Know what you bring to the table. Even if you're new, that's your worth too. You're new. You're willing to learn. You're like a sponge. That's probably some of the best qualities, as you know, right, Lucy? Always
yes.
looking for somebody that's maybe not a seasoned person, that will absorb all the knowledge a little bit better than
Mhm.
someone who's already been in the business. So, I mean, just know your worth. Put it on paper. Bring it to the table. And when you do that, you're already showing your value.
I love it.
I love it. I love it. I think what you've shared with us today can definitely be very encouraging, encouraging to someone, because I heard you say, I lost it all in 2023. I made some bad decisions, but I also learned. You've been vulnerable. I love when I can hear someone that has been on top of the world, or even if they're still on top of the world like you are now, because you've rebuilt, you've relaunched, you've expanded, and now they can be vulnerable and transparent and say, hey, I've messed up and I've changed and I've had to learn and I've had to refigure myself out. But look, now I'm here, and I'm the bigger, better, bolder, more brilliant version that I've been. So I think that you just sharing with everyone, right? And even your audience, because there's people that know us for who we used to be or what we used to do. And it's
Yes,
always good to bring a new perspective, because we
yes,
are in a new season.
absolutely.
Any
Absolutely.
other thoughts you want to share before we close?
No, I want to share a couple of things. Just I am trying to relaunch a podcast, but this time with my daughter.
Ah,
It's called A Lot to Talk About, hence our last name, Lot. And hopefully be doing that before the summer, where we'll talk all things real estate plus plus, a little bit of everything. She's got a whole genre of, you know, people her age that I don't have the reach and she does. So we're excited about that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Excited about continuing our real estate journey. But most of all, if you have any questions and you want to reach out to me, I'm here.
I love it. Is this the first time you announce your relaunch of the podcast?
It is. It is. It is. It is. It's the
All
first time.
right.
I've had it in the background, and I've been trying. But one of the hardest things when you're doing something like that is finding the right videographer and people behind the scenes to see your vision and keep. So I actually set
Yes.
up in my house a whole area for to do the podcast. But we're just gonna get it together, because I only go big. So once I'm in, I'm doing it, and I'm gonna go big. It'll be on Spotify, it'll be on YouTube, it'll be on all platforms. So I no longer, if I'm gonna do it, it's like I said, I'm 0 to 100. So
I'm sure
I
it'll be
love it.
successful. Vanessa. Yep.
thank you, John. It
Yep.
was a pleasure. I need to know more about high level, by the way. We definitely need to have a conversation on that.
Absolutely, I'd love to. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Well, that is a wrap, and I am so happy. I mean, I'm sure you guys could see my smile from ear to ear, rekindling with my dear friend, and just looking back, but more even looking into the future and seeing how bright it is and seeing how much growth there is still to be had and all the wonderful things. So, whatever I can do to serve you, Vanessa, I am a text away because I know we're both always very busy, but we always respond to each other.
We
And
do.
thank you so much for accepting the invitation and helping us get agents in the trenches to your audience as well, because we're going to be sending you your media kit with all the information.
I'm
Put it out
excited
there.
because
So,
I forgot to hit live on my social media. I can't wait to share it. So this will be very exciting. Thank you so much. I look forward to collaborating with both of you in the future. You never know where life, takes
yes.
you. But here to help you guys as well. Thank you again, Lucy and John.
Everyone go follow Vanessa Lott. She's the real deal. You just heard her say it. She goes big or she goes home. And she's not just saying that. She is a trailblazer who is lighting up her life. And it's awesome to see you doing something with your daughter, because I think that, listen, I think that the vehicle of real estate does change lives. I've said it always because it changed my life and I'm seeing how it's changing yours. So until next time, and go follow Vanessa Lott, go follow her podcast. Let us know when you launch it. I
Yep,
will be your number one
absolutely.
fan. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one. This was so much fun. Thank you.
Yes. All right, guys. See you on the next one. Enjoy your day.
Bye.